get the cat off my lap. Okay, well, good evening everybody and welcome along to this webinar. It is another collaboration between Property Tribes and our friends and partners at Lendlord. And well, we're in very high spirits this week. Everything with Lendlord is going incredibly well. We've had record numbers of people joining and using the software, and we've had some new members join us following a mail out by the Lendlord Investment Show. So if you are joining us from the LIS community, you're very welcome. Great to have you on board, and we're going to share a lot of useful information tonight. And Aviram, before we get going, I thought it was just worth mentioning about the LIS online super shows, because you're actually going to be involved with that, aren't you?
Right, yeah. So next week, Lendlord and myself basically will have like a webinar, a live seminar in there. And we will showcase some of the new functionality. And we speak like how, adopting a digital life for lenders and property investors is something that can help you grow your property business based on data, less on intuition. So yeah, stay tuned. We will send like a note to our users when it will be live. Yeah.
Well, the first show is on the 8th of October, and it is the Midlands edition, and the show organisers have customised the content to the local area. So it's free to register for the LIS Super Shows. We will put a link underneath this video when we broadcast it and publish it tomorrow. So yeah, very exciting times at Lendlord, very exciting times in the private rented sector. So much change going on, as we say every week, but it is. With this collaboration with Lendlord, we're really trying to encourage landlords to take what we call a digital first approach. There are so many really powerful tools out there that help landlords mitigate risk, understand their portfolio better, save time, save money, just to help landlords work more efficiently. And in a kind of post-COVID-19 environment where risks to landlords and property investors have definitely been amplified, you should be looking at every possible tool to help you survive these choppy waters ahead. We've got a lot of things coming down the pipe at us, but if you take these digital tools, adopt them, work them into your everyday routine, we genuinely believe that they will assist you stay afloat, whatever challenges come in the next few years. So that's really what tonight's webinar is about, is to really highlight and showcase the incredible Lendlord Deal Analyser. Now, this was launched a couple of months ago. We can confidently say that it's the most powerful deal analyzer on the market. Aviram and his colleagues worked for many months to develop it, and it really gives you some incredibly powerful insights into how your portfolio is performing. So at times like this, when margins are being slimmed, when there's a lot of landlord stress about, it's a very opportune moment to start thinking about using these digital tools to help you stay afloat. Let's move straight into what we've got to show you. And I do stress we're doing this through, popular demand, and because we've had such positive feedback about the software. So, Aviram, first of all, with any software or anything that you're looking to achieve metrics with, you've got to actually input the data first. So you're going to give us a quick screenshot of how to do this on the Lendlord software.
Yes, exactly. And I think that this is also like the first time that we will showcase the new look and feel. So basically, hopefully next week, we will release this version that you see right now. This is currently, it's a test environment, but I think that it's a good opportunity to show the functionality of this version. It's almost similar, just the look and feel, the colors are different, and some of the arrangements of the pages also a bit different. Feel free to ask questions on the chat, and we will answer them either like as we go or like in the end. So this goal, today webinar's goal is basically to go like step by step how you can evaluate your entire portfolio and your specific properties using Lendlord. So I will start. So this is the dashboard. I believe some of the audience already know this page. The dashboard is a high-level summary of what you have. We will start with, as you mentioned, Vanessa, with entering the data first. So if you're like a first-time user of Lendlord, you should click on the Add Property button on the dashboard, or you can go to My Portfolio. On My Portfolio, go to Add, click on Add Property. There is another option to add a prospect property, and this basically will go directly to the Deal Analyser. So in Lendlord, you can manage both your existing properties and basically existing portfolio, and also your prospect, your pipeline, basically. We will start with like adding a property. So I already prepared the property for like this webinar example. By clicking, if you can see like there is a change on the actions on each property, you have 3 icons that are visible. And if you click on the 3 dots, you will see all the actions you can do on a property level. You just need to hover over the row and see the actions that are available and things that you can do on this property. You can edit the property. You can view the property page. If you review the property page, we'll have like a drill down on this specific property. You can upload a photo of the property if you would like and store it on Lendlord. You can also download the photos after that. And you can see the metrics specifically for this property. And you can also manage your documents for this property. The other actions are like go to the Deal Analyser. I think this is like one of the things that we will touch in this webinar, how to use the Deal Analyser to analyze existing deal, how to make sure that your current holding is still like is still viable for the long term. And there are other options that if we have time, we'll touch this webinar. And if not, we'll do it like in the next webinar. So the first thing is to track the data. So you can use the add button to a new property, or you can use the edit action icon to edit existing property. Then the right sidebar will be opened. In the right sidebar, you can basically enter and type the data. It's separated by sections. So you have like a general fields. You can put the mortgage data of this property. You can drill down to much more specific property details, including contact details of your utility suppliers and many other fields that are important to track. You can put your landlord insurance detail, gas certificate details, electrical check details. Tenants, there is like a separate page for that to manage your tenants, tenancies, and rent collection. But in my portfolio, basically, we can just like attach a tenant from your My Tenants list to a specific property. The data on your energy performance for this property also can be entered here. And if you have any other financial product like further advanced, secured loan, or bridging finance, you can also track the detail on Lendlord. For our example in this webinar, because we are now focusing on how to evaluate an investment, the most important thing is like to put the details on the general fields and the mortgage fields. The general will include, of course, the address, the postcode, the purchase price, the purchase date, the purchase price, what is the current property value. If you're not sure, you can use our calculator that is basically based on a partner property data. We use their API, so it can give you some kind of like an indication, and of course you can tweak the data as you think this is like the right value right now. The monthly rental.
Can I just jump in there, Aviram, and say that, you know, that we've had a trending topic on Property Tribes this week about how our members are noticing that surveyors are undervaluing properties. And I think because obviously we're in a post-COVID-19 lockdown environment, certainly banks and surveyors are going to be very cautious. And the kind of general feeling on this particular thread that was that they were undervaluing properties by 5 to 10%. So I was just going to jump in there and say that when you put your property's value in, perhaps it would be prudent to err on the side of caution, shall we say, because clearly you want to understand the scenario in the best possible way that you can and not over egg any numbers to make it look more favourable than it is. And then if it is better than that, great. But I think it's a good risk mitigation strategy just to be a little bit conservative on your numbers during this particular period of time in the market where there's a lot of uncertainty about.
Definitely. And I think that this is one of the advantages of using like technology and software. You can basically put like a conservative scenario, and you can see by that, you know, what would be like your worst case scenario. And, you know, I would anyway recommend like to be conservative, and we will see it in the Deal Analyser that you can basically put all the expected expenses also for the future, and you can put like future assumptions. And when you put future assumptions, you can put conservative assumptions in terms of property appreciation, rent appreciation, and inflation. We will see it like in a minute. So great note. So after you entered your general details, put your mortgage details if you have one on this property. And here you can put the start date and the end date. The start date and end date is very important if you want to evaluate this existing property. Then it's important. You will see it like on the Deal Analyser. Another thing is like to put the original mortgage balance and the current mortgage balance. If it's an interest only, it's like most likely that it will be the same number. In this example, I want to use the capital and interest because then you can see on the report like the development of your equity and mortgage balance after that. Of course, the rate, the monthly cost of the mortgage. If you have early redemption fees, you can put them. This is like another chapter of Lendlord, like the finance side. We have like an algorithm that search, basically scan your portfolio every week. And if you find remortgage opportunities, you will see it as a recommendation. And it takes into account the early redemption fees. That is very important not to forget, because like if you remortgage during the period of a fixed rate, let's say, then you need to pay those penalties. So if you track this data on Lendlord, Lendlord will track it and notify like if there is like a real opportunity or not. I think that this is like the most important things for evaluating this property. Vanessa, something that I think that is important to emphasize and note, like we get a lot of questions from users on that. The My Portfolio screen is basically the current state of your properties and your portfolio. So if you have now like a rent increase or decrease, you can update it here. Like you can click on edit and update the current rental income. The platform will take the update to this current month. So if now like we started October, so it will be like tracked in October. My Portfolio is the current state. On the profit and loss page, this is the place to manage your income and expenses on an ongoing basis. There you can basically, if I will click on the profit and loss, you can start track your history. You can, by the way, there are users that don't want to deal with that and don't want to start managing from now onward. It's totally fine. But if you want to manage the history, there are ways. And I will show, like we introduced like the transaction page that basically help you like import data easily, like with Excel spreadsheet, and upload also historical data to Lendlord. So we get a lot of questions where I track ground rent, council tax, of course, landlord insurance. So this is the place, the profit and loss. The default will be like the current month. Currently, we're like in October. The buttons below the chart are the years. If you click on them, you will see your like portfolio performance over the years. You can also filter the portfolio and basically take a look on only on specific property. Those filters are like something that you will see like all over, like almost like in all the pages on Lendlord. So you can track by property and you can track by owner. So this is also something that is important. If you want to work on a specific property, just check the property that you want to work on. So so the buttons below the chart are the years, and if you can see, like it changes. And if you want to work on a specific month, you should just click on the chart on this month. Like now I'm working on June 2018, okay? So let's go back to 2020. I will put the entire portfolio right now in October. Now I want to start track my monthly expenses. Click on monthly expenses, the button below, above the chart. Click on edit, then the expenses sidebar will be open. So here basically you can track your monthly expenses. Now, there are like two ways of managing your profit and loss on Lendlord. There are users that we want like to just like to track it automatically. So you can just mark the recurring expense, and then the platform will carry it over month by month. So when November will start, the landlord will be copied with this pay date, okay? But there are landlords that want to track it manually just once they get paid. Then you should not mark the recurring expense. Another important thing, if you use our rent collection module, and this is something that you can access from the My Tenant page, click on rent collection. If you track the rents on rent collection page, then the platform, when you click save, will copy it for you to the profit and loss. And you will see it on the income sidebar. Okay, you can pick that. And this is also something that we get, Vanessa, a lot of questions about that. I know it's confusing, but you just need to understand, like if you want to track it by yourself month by month, I would recommend even like to delete the monthly rental that the platform copies after you enter the data on my portfolio, and track it on the My Tenants, on the rent collection screen. So once you track a payment that was received from a tenant, then it will copy it to the profit and loss. Let's take like an example. We'll select like one property, 12 St. James. Let's track this payment. Let's say that he paid already in the 1st of October.
Yeah, we like tenants like that.
Yeah.
Pay on time.
On time. I click save. I go to the profit and loss. I will go to 12 St. James. I will go to the income. And you can see rent tenant A. This is the name of the tenant. I was not so creative with the date, and you can see 345. So for users that can click on it, make sure that it's not a recurring expense, because if you want to work with the rent collection module, then it will copy your expenses automatically to the profit and loss. In the rent collection page, you can also track your overdues payments from tenants that, let's go back, perhaps I have some, yeah, I have, this is like a demo account, of course. So you can see the overdue. There is like another field. We had a great call this week with the user that mentioned that there are tenants that do like overpayments. So they didn't pay in 1 month, but then in the next month they pay like part of their debt. And then, you know, if you want to take like a high level overview of all of the debt, this is the field. Currently it's equal, but if you will have like overpayments, then we see like that the accumulated overdue will change. Okay, so I think, Vanessa, we touched on how to track expenses. If there are like questions or something like that, perhaps we can stop now and answer. If not, I will continue.
Siva is asking, can you show the reevaluation aspect of the functionality?
The reevaluation?
No, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Sorry. Can you elaborate, Siva? I was just going to say the profit and loss module is actually also a very good prompt to show you all the expenses you can legitimately claim. So if you're not claiming everything that you should be entitled to and recording it for your tax return, then this is a kind of good crib sheet to tell you what you can actually claim for.
Exactly. And the way to do it is like to click on the add expense, this button on the bottom. And then when you click add expense, you have a drop down with all the predefined expenses. But of course, if you want like to put your own expense, click on other expense and then just like put on the description, my expense with the amount. Click done. You can also upload a receipt. If you use our mobile app, we have currently Android app. iOS is all like on the way. So if you use our mobile app, you can also take a picture and upload it from there. Click done. And then you can also use the categories to select the category for this specific expense. If you don't find the category that you want, you can add a category and like select the color that you want from those colors. And then you can go to the expenses breakdown page. And here you can see like according to, you know, like you can filter according to dates, the specific property. It's like, okay, I have mainly mortgage costs right now, but like insurance. You can also like update the categories from here. You can also upload the receipts also from this page. So this is also something convenient. Another thing before we move on, I think that we are a lot of time on this page. One last thing, this is like the transaction page. This is a new page. Here you can import a file. The file should be like on a CSV format. You just need to click on Save As on your Excel spreadsheet and pick this format. And you have like an example file, if you download it, like to just skip the names of the first row, the names of the columns, the same names that we use, and we will upload the data. So here, basically, you can upload even like historical data. You just need to map it to a specific property. And then you have this icon like to map and copy it to the profit and loss. So users that want to do it like in bulks, like I don't know, every month, like you can upload a spreadsheet of all the expenses and incomes. You can do it like in one time, just map the property, choose the category, and you can check like all of the expenses with the checkbox, and in one click you can copy everything to the profit and loss page. Then you can, of course, like do the tweaks in this page.
Okay, so I think hopefully you're starting to see that Lendlord is a bit like an iceberg. At the top, you've got your kind of headline metrics about your entire portfolio, and then as you go down, the information starts to broaden out. You can drill down onto individual properties, and you can really go as deep as you like. obviously, the more data that you input into the software, the more accurate and reliable your outputs are going to be. So we do encourage you to kind of really dig down into the software and add information in all the fields, because that actually ensures that you're getting better and better intel from the software. So yes, it's I guess another analogy, it's a bit like an onion. You can keep peeling away the layers and there's more and more underneath there. But the main thing, I think, is to start with just putting in your headline data, see your metrics start to appear before your eyes. That kind of instant gratification then encourages you to start putting in more information, get more data, and really start harnessing the power of the software, because it's there to assist you and help you make really informed investment decisions. And sadly, too many people use things like gut instinct or guesswork or what their friend down the pub said. In this day and age, when you've got digital tools at your fingertips like this, you should use them and make them work for you and help you mitigate your risk, as we've been saying. We want to talk now about the performance view.
Yeah.
And obviously, key sort of metrics to property investors are the gross and the net. And obviously, as we said, the more expenses and costs and revenues that you put in, the more accurate your net figure is going to be.
Exactly. So with the performance view, you can basically compare and see what is basically your net cash flow. So in the default view, you will see your gross monthly cash flow basically takes into account the rent and the mortgage. If you switch to the performance view, so you should click on this drop down above the table, then the view will change and will show you the summary in terms of net cash flow in the last 12 months. The next 12 months is based on the Deal Analyser. This is like a projection based on your future assumption that we will show like in 1 minute. The last 12 months cash on cash. We track cash on cash because we think that this is like something like more tangible. So you can basically see like how much cash flow you earn this year on top of your cash investment. The cash investment is something that you can also track in the profit and loss. And we also provide some projection to the next 10 years. What we like ROI in 10 years and how your equity will develop in 10 years. This is, of course, everything is assumptions, and you can tweak the assumptions. How you can tweak the assumptions? You can go property by property, and if you click on the Deal Analyzer on an existing property, then the Deal Analyzer will be opened, and then you can see the data of your existing properties on the Deal Analyzer. So usually we'll see, like, if it's a property that you purchased like years ago, you will see the difference between the purchase price and the property value. The first year metric, it means like what, in terms of ROI, is like what you did so far. It takes into account some of the purchase costs, but if you didn't enter them, this is like the place to do it. Actually, I will correct myself. This is not the place to do it. The place to do, like, to track your purchase costs for like existing property is in the profit and loss. Below the chart, you have this box, purchase cost. Click on edit and make sure that all the purchase costs are in there. Stamp duty, if you did a refurbishment, furnishing, legal fees. The platform will take it, will carry it over to the Deal Analyzer. If you don't find the cost that you had, just click on add cost and pick a description and the amount. So this is the place. I will go back again to the Deal Analyzer. So basically you can see like how much cash you invested in this property. What is the current outstanding loan? I picked a property that is on capital and interest just for this example. And then I can start to play with the future assumptions. the period in years is like how much it's like basically worth to keep the property. You can see like the IRR changes if I change this slider in terms of years. You can play with the annual property appreciation, your assumption, of course, with the rent appreciation and with your assumption for inflation. Something very important, and Vanessa, you spoke about like to be, you talked about like to be conservative. So this is the occupancy rate. I think that, you know, it really depends on like the history of the property. In the future, like Lendlord also will like input data from your historical data on this property, but currently you need to tweak it manually. So you can put like a occupancy rate that can be conservative, 22, usually it takes like out like 1 month. And then you can see how it impacts your long-term metrics for this specific property. You can drill down with using the prospect report. In the prospect report, you can, this is also good, of course, like this, we develop it for prospect properties, but it's great for existing properties because you can see like the development of your equity mortgage balance over the years and the development of your cash flow. So another thing you can do, or you should do, is to check the postcode, the area, and we use again our partner, the API of property data. You can search for a specific postcode. We currently limit it to 3 searches a month, but users that wants to, I think we should make it more physical. You can just click here and we will increase your searches that you have like more quota every month. This is like a paid API that we pay. So basically we limit it right now, but if you want more, just like contact us. And you can get a lot of nice information about this postcode. So it's relevant for a prospect property, but of course it's relevant also for your existing property, like to see what is the current trend on this postcode in terms of property demand, how much property is currently for sale, analytics on crime on this specific postcode, rental demand. And you can also see like prices per square foot and some demographic data in terms of politics, commute method, and the distribution of age. So all this basically can now bring you like a picture of how your existing property performs. Now, what about like how I can compare the property? Because I just like evaluate like a specific property. Then you can go again to the My Portfolio, switch to the performance view. So here you can see like different columns that you can also tweak this view. Like we're using the column dropdown, you could add any column you want to any view, and you can also play with the order of the fields, and you can save it, and then it will change. Now you can sort the table and see, okay, in terms of cash on cash, who is the best property? In terms of like cash invested, like which property I invested like the less, and then you can basically like use those fields like to understand the performance of the property and compare them. In the future, we will like release some features that will do it for you. Like automatically, you will be able to understand which are like the properties that underperforming, outperforming, and make better decisions. But currently, it's definitely sufficient, and you can get a lot of data on your existing properties and existing portfolio. You can now add also your prospect properties, and they will show, this is like the new, so it's like a bit gray, but you can see like how your portfolio will look with those two prospect properties. You can do like some kind of what if scenarios. Okay, I want to sell those two or those two properties and keep those two prospects, how it will impact my metrics. And I can switch again to the default view to see also what will be my equity if I hold these two properties. I think that one of the best things in Lendlord is the filter. So you can use the filters like to basically like take like different views on your portfolio. If your property is on different ownership, let's say, if you have like private properties and you have a company or properties. And if you like basically have like more than one company, you can also filter by that. We get question how you mention the name of the company. Just click edit, put in the ownership company and put the company name, and it will create a filter automatically for you. Like we do with the due date, just put a date and you will get like a notification on the date. Vanessa, questions for like until now?
I was just going to say, unfortunately, I've lost the chat box for some reason off my screen, so I can't see the chat questions anymore, I'm afraid. I would just add that we do have the Lendlord Digital Life category on Property Tribes, and if you want to look at some of our past webinars and live demos, that is the place to go. We do appreciate that there's quite a lot to take in this evening, and we have got other webinars and live demos that show you individual modules on the software, so you can always go and review those at your leisure if that particular module is of interest to you and you'd like to better understand how to use it. So I can't ask the chat questions, I'm afraid, because something's happened to my screen. So I don't know if Nick's there or if Aviram, can you see the chat questions?
Yeah, I think I can. Let me check. Okay, so
while we're looking at that, I was just going to add that I think using this software and using the data, it does help take some of the kind of emotion out of being a property investor and landlord. Speaking for myself, I know that I am very attached to our properties. I don't ever like to sell them, and you know, emotion can sometimes get in the way, stop you seeing the reality of a certain property's performance. And, you know, if you could sell a property and buy another one that's going to perform better and work better within the framework of your portfolio, then that is a good decision to make, as hard as it might be. So I think using this software will actually help you kind of strip away the emotion, see how each property is performing, and make some of those important decisions that all property investors have to make at some time during their property journey, so to speak. So it's very good from that point of view, I think, because numbers never lie. They tell you the truth, and as we said, the more accurate your inputs, the more accurate and reliable your outputs.
Yeah, and something that will help our users is another thing that we are now working on is like enhance to our weekly report. So currently our weekly contains like an HTML summary, of course with a login to high level overview of your portfolio. The new version will be like interactive report with a lot of insights, and also we will be able to tweak some of the data using this report. Okay, I think that for the chat, I think worst case if we can like answer the questions on the post on Property Tribes tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good answer, good way to deal with it.
With access to that. Okay, so let's continue. What we have on I think that it's the last thing that we need to cover today, Vanessa.
Have you looked at the stress test view?
Yes, okay. So the stress test view is something that is available also for my portfolio. If you click on this link, the stress test basically can help you understand what is your risk level in like the worst case scenario in terms of reduced rent. So in the first column, we'll see the current rent that you entered on my portfolio. The second column is what it will be like your rent at risk. So let's say if the tenant stop paying, then it will be 0, or you close something with the tenant, so he will pay a reduced amount, or you go down to the LHA or universal credit rates, and then you will get the mortgage cost also from what you entered in my portfolio. The other monthly cost will come from the profit and loss, but you can also tweak it here. And then you can see what is your current cover, and this number should be the higher you can, and what is your cover at risk. If you see this color, it means that it's like in danger, like less than 100%. It means that you pay more cost than what you get rent. So basically, your cash flow is negative. If it's blue, it's positive. But if it's like blue with a low, like not big number, then basically it means that you don't have a lot of room in terms of your cash flow for this specific property. And you can also look at the summary and see what is the entire situation of your portfolio, what will your like net cash flow at risk, what is the current net cash flow, what is the current burn rate, how much cash you burn every month, and again, what like in terms of percentage, what is the cover at risk and the cover in the usual cover.
And of course, we're not saying that any scenario is right or wrong. The whole point of this software is to look at it through your own lens and your own situation. So if you've got very significant other income, you might not be particularly worried if some of your properties are in negative net cash flow. But then if you're in not such a good financial situation and you're struggling yourself financially with income outside of property, then you would definitely want to know if there were properties within your portfolio that were potentially going to worsen your situation. So the main thing about all this data is to look at it through your own lens and your own financial situation, obviously, and also your own tax position as well. And this is what's so powerful about the software, is that you can put in the data and you can get customized results to you and your portfolio, very, very personalized information. That's very, very powerful for you as an investor. What were we going to finish on then, Aviram? Was it to look at the long-term performance?
Yes, I think we basically covered it.
Yep. Yep.
I think what we can mention, again, question that we hear a lot from users and new users is about like the monetization of the platform, like how we monetize it, because the platform is free to use. So perhaps again a good opportunity to mention that we currently run like a business model that based on referrals. So in the services page, you can find the providers that we work with. So in finance, we have Windfall, like it's a partner of Lendlord. We have like partners in convincing, in compliance. We work with PropCert. It's like the previous name, former name is like EPC Online. Insurance, it's Ellen Boswell. Utilities, Look After My Bills. If you decide to work with our providers, then we get compensated. So we get like a commission from the partner, and we also share part of this commission with you. We hope like to increase the amounts. Like we work on it. It really depends on the relationships with our providers. And of course, like as long as you use it, we can maintain the platform as a free-to-use platform. One of the benefits to use our provider is that you can track some of your processes online, and you can see all the steps. Let's say if it's like a new mortgage, like all the steps to completion, and you get like email notification on each step that is getting progress. So it's like another benefit. So this is for like the question how we monetize the platform. This is like our current plan, and we hope that we can keep it.
Indeed. And when you come into the Lendlord software, you've got a lot of data at your fingertips, but as Aviram alluded to, there's also an ecosystem of trusted suppliers of products and services that landlords need on a daily basis. And we, as you mentioned, we're partnered with the award-winning Alan Boswell Group for insurance. And many of our partners, offer special deals and can help with your bottom line. For instance, Look After My Bills is something I'm a fan of. You just register with them, and then once you've put your properties into their system, every year they search for the cheapest gas and electric utilities and automatically switch to those. So that can save you several £100s a year. And you know, if you've got a lot of properties or you've got a lot of HMOs with bills inclusive, then it could make quite a big difference. So there's a few little tips and hacks within Lendlord just to assist you to be more efficient and save money as well with your products and services that you need on a regular basis. Just could we finish on the Deal Analyser, Aviram, because we do have a separate webinar on this, and it was recorded with the lovely gentleman who helped Aviram develop it, an American real estate expert by the name of Brian. And Brian and Aviram demonstrated the entire Deal Analyser, and Brian gave some very good insights and explanations of the different metrics that the Deal Analyser delivers, because most investors tend to use quite high-level basic metrics like you know, ROI, but there's a lot of much deeper metrics that you can use, and Brian gave a very good and detailed explanation of these for you to use these metrics to assess a potential deal. And it's really, really positive to run any deal through this software, because it means that you can assess it in the comfort of your own home. You don't want to drive 200 miles and spend several hours of your day going to look at a prospect property that actually doesn't, you know, the numbers just don't stack up. So again, it's very, very efficient to use the software to you know, mitigate your time as well, because one thing that none of us have any more of is more time. We've all got the same 24 hours in the day. So just a quick overview of the Deal Analyser, Aviram, because we've had such incredible positive response and reviews of it, and as I said at the beginning, we do believe it's the most powerful property deal analyzing tool on the market. And well, it's free to use, of course.
Yeah, so I think that the thing with the Deal Analyzer is that if you, let's see, on you like steer the page, the form, basically you just need to put the address and then just two fields like the purchase price and the expected rent, and then immediately you get your first year metrics and the long-term metrics, and then you can start tweaking data. If you think that the value of the property is different than what you're going to purchase it, then you can put it here. We are aware that there are users that wanted to use it for flips and developments and things like that. We will be there. Currently, what you can do, you can just play with the difference between the purchase price and property value and put how much you're going to put in, let's say, refurbishment. We can put any other cost. And here also, again, be conservative, put everything you think that you are going to spend. You can put the closing costs, use the advanced, like to see what there can be. And then you can play with the cash investment, how much you want or how much you need to pay to put in cash. So this is also something important. The cash investment is different than the deposit. So the deposit we use just for like calculating like for the lender. So if you want like to be on a level of 70% LTV, this is the amount you need to put. The cash investment will take into account also your stamp duty and the other costs. So like basically we support both of them. And if you will change this, it will change this number. You can also play with the loans. You can use our engine to find the mortgage deals. We will touch it in a separate webinar. You can play with the type of the mortgage, of the repayments, capital or interest only. And you can also play with the monthly costs. And here again, in the future, we will feed this data from historical or like from like general data from this area, like we do now with property data. And also again, here you can also tweak the long-term assumptions and again, be conservative. And you can then go to the prospect report. You can you can export it to a PDF. You can export to Excel, and you can also share it with colleagues and get their feedback, and in the future perhaps can share it on Property Tribes, also something like in the roadmap.
Fantastic, yes. And if you do buy property at auction, for instance, you could use the Deal Analyser to work out your maximum bid that, you know, makes financial sense for you. And as my friend John Howard, with 40 years of property experience under his belt, always says that some of the best deals are the ones that you never do, because if you did do them, they could financially corrupt you. So the Deal Analyzer is a very, very powerful tool for you to use to assess your potential deals, really dig down and get some very deep insights on whether it's financially viable for you and whether it's suitable to be part of your portfolio, because obviously you've got the prospect property module as well. So that's pretty much it, because we're running out of time. What I would say is that there is a lot of support on the Lendlord platform. There is a chat box manned by Aviram and Nick. So if you've got any questions, you can use the chat on the actual Lendlord software itself. If you are a large portfolio landlord, Aviram is very happy to do a personalised demonstration and training session for you, and you just need to get in touch with him.
Also for not large portfolios. It's
okay.
Everyone.
Well, he's there to assist. And obviously, Aviram is also on Property Tribes, so you can ask any questions there, as people have been doing. You know, it's very interesting when somebody asks a question, we're able to provide an answer, and it actually does benefit the entire community, because everybody can see the question and the answer. So it's a very good way to for us to explain how to use Lendlord in the public domain. So yes, if you've got any questions, please add them to the chat before we end. Tomorrow, this video will be published onto Property Tribes, and we will provide answers to your questions underneath the broadcast. And sorry we couldn't answer them all tonight, but there's something happened with my screen and I can't actually see the chat anymore, so please forgive us for that. But we do hope you've enjoyed this evening. We've really only been able to look at the tip of that iceberg that I mentioned earlier, and we're going to do regular webinars to update any users on the functionality of the software, because it's developing all the time. New features are being added, new looks are being added, and new graphics. So we want to keep you up to speed with all the changes and the development of the software itself. And of course also, you know, we are being guided by the feedback from our users as well, aren't we, Aviram? And we've had some really incredible feedback and suggestions of how we can develop the software.
Every day, and I want to say thank you. Yeah, every day we get feedback, suggestions, bug reports, and definitely help us like to enhance the platform and basically develop the perfect product for you. So thank you for that. Keep doing that.
Can I jump in here a second?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello everyone, it's Nick here. A couple of things really. Billy Davis asked about the video. He would like to convert it to a speech app so we can digest the information. Billy, yes, this recording will be available on Property Tribes tomorrow. It will be a YouTube video. However, if that's inconvenient for you, let me know. You can find my email on Property Tribes and I will sort it out for you to make sure that you get a copy of it. Lastly, Paul Lawrence asks, what constitutes a large portfolio?
Well, according to the lenders, it's you know, you're a portfolio landlord if you've got 4 or more properties. But I don't know. We want to help everybody, big or small. Everybody has to start with just one property, don't they? So I was just kind of being respectful of Aviram's time, but I know that he's very, very keen to help anybody, even if you're just a newbie with one property. So do reach out to him if you feel that you would like a more personalised and individual demonstration. That's what we're here for, to make sure that you get all your questions answered and that you can really get get your teeth into the software and start benefiting from it, because we really do believe it's tools like this that are going to give you the edge going forward, and you're going to be that digital landlord who's got everything, all their data, all their information at the tip of their fingers. You can access it from anywhere in the world, and of course, you know, as we've mentioned before, should something happen to you, if you were taken ill or you had an accident and you left your logins with your partner or your business partner, then they would be able to access your portfolio and immediately get a better understanding of it, and that would really help them in terms of taking it over and being able to manage it while you were unable to do so yourself. So there are many advantages for using the software, all about risk mitigation, improving your bottom line, improving your portfolio's performance, and those are all really important things to do at any time, but never more so in a post-COVID-19 lockdown environment where we are experiencing market conditions that nobody's ever really experienced before. So do use these digital tools to assist you, give you a little bit of that edge that makes all the difference. Okay. So yeah, so we'll be signing off now. Thank you very much to Aviram in Tel Aviv. It's 2 hours later for him than us. So we're just coming up to 8 o'clock in the UK time. Thank you for everybody for joining us this evening. And as we mentioned, all the details, everything that we've referred to and discussed this evening will be on Property Tribes as from tomorrow morning. So you can revisit it. And by the way, if you press the CC on the YouTube embedded video, the CC logo, closed captioning, it actually brings up subtitles. So some people like to digest information by reading as well as listening. So there is that option as well. So we'll see you on Property Tribes tomorrow, hopefully. But for now, it's myself, Aviram, and Nick saying good evening and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.